Today, we're going to compare two phone gimbals, the DJI Osmo Mobile 3 versus the Moza Mini S. I would say the biggest point of these two phone gimbals is the way that they fold, so it's much more easy to transport, put it into bags. But cutting straight to the point, I'm going to pick the Mobile 3 just because of how it shoots, how it handles my shooting style, and I feel like it pretty much improves a lot of points over the Moza Mini S. But before I start with all the reasoning why I think the Mobile 3 is better, let me just point out some things I think the Moza Mini S does a bit better job at. And the first thing is there's a lot more buttons. So if you are planning to use a lot of modes or get into your mode quicker, I would say the Moza Mini S got that on point. The standby mode is much easier or much faster to get in and out of. And I would say the app is much more easier to understand and more simple looking. So for beginners, I would say the app on the Moza Mini S is going to be easier to learn. But moving on, here is my first reason why I think the Moza Mini S is not as good as the DJI Mobile 3. The size on the Mobile 3 is smaller. So if you're using it in the city, definitely you're going to be more stealthy. When I'm packing it up, I can put it into my jacket pocket and it fits. So the Moza Mini S is kind of huge for a foldable gimbal. And when I'm using it, the grip on the Mobile 3 is way more comfortable. The rubber on it really makes my skin fits and it doesn't move at all, whereas on the Moza Mini S the plastic is really smooth. So after using it for maybe like 3 minutes or so, I find my palm slipping up. So that's when I find it really uncomfortable to use. The ergonomics is not as good on the Moza Mini S. I would say handling, comfortability, the ergonomics goes to the Mobile 3. Next up is the layout. Everything on the Mobile 3 is really easy to understand and it's all in a thumb's reach because the ergonomics is so well done. I feel like I'm not using a lot of effort just to use a joystick or pressing the record button. And that's why I said the ergonomics on the Moza Mini S isn't as great, because I always find myself repositioning my hands just to get a better angle at hitting those buttons, and then I would have to reach again just to use a joystick. So if you have bigger hands or bigger thumbs, maybe it's a bit more comfortable, but again, I just think Mobile 3 is just much more easier to understand and less effort to use. Now for standby mode is much quicker on the Moza Mini S. One press of a button, it goes straight to sleep, whereas on the Mobile 3, you need to hold it down, you hear a beep, and then it kind of repositions to that point to close, which is the best part, because for me, even though it's slower on the Mobile 3, it auto positions itself so I can just fold down and it's ready to be locked and nothing's moving. Because for the Moza Mini S, when I'm walking around, everything is still loose and things are flying around. I don't really like my phones or motors to be always bouncing around as I'm walking around the city. So even though one gimbal or one arm do lock, I wish both of them do lock. And that also goes to putting away the gimbal. On the Mobile 3, it makes it so much more streamlined to be able to put it away, because since you can easily fold it into its folded state, I can just put it into my bag. Whereas on the Moza S, I have to manually fold it, and if I fold it wrong, one of the motors or one of the arms is kind of loose in its folded state. Now when we're shooting with it, the stabilization is pretty much identical in terms of performance, but the biggest reason here to get the Mobile 3 is that if you do plan on using the ultra wide mode, you don't see the motor on the Mobile 3 because the motor is on the side, whereas on the Moza Mini S, you can clearly see the motor to be in your shot. So that is a huge con. Now I'm not hating on the Moza Mini S. It still makes a great phone gimbal to do a lot of cinematic stuff, but just using both side by side and just being able to experience the little things from the user experience, like the better ergonomics, the motor being off from the side, it's just like those little things makes my life so much easier. The biggest pro I would say that make my life way more convenient is that when I'm turning it off, the Mobile 3 kind of just spins itself and position itself to be ready to be folded. So that is the best part. It saves me a lot of time not needing to fold it, not needing to be in the right alignment, just to fold it into its correct folded state. So it's those little things that really adds up to make the user experience so much better on the Mobile 3. So that is my comparison between these two phone gimbals. Let me know what you guys think. For me, I just feel like the DJI Mobile 3 is kind of just way better in terms of a lot of the user experience side. Please follow me on Instagram, give a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.